This is Gildy. Gildy is 7 years old and goes to St Martin's School in Epsom, just outside London. He's back at school now since all children were able to return on the 8th of March, but like millions of children across the country, Gildy was having to learn from home for nearly a whole school year. Gildy has had good days and not so good days throughout the lockdown, but every day he's had to make choices. He still has to, even though he's back at school. There are many different choices that we make every day, and with every choice there is a potentially different thing that could happen, a potentially different outcome. Any choice we make affects our day, and sometimes how we feel. This film tells one possible version of a story called Gildy's Day. If you go to my website, www.jennylockyer.co.uk, you can find Gildy's Day and create the same story, or a different one, depending on which choices you help Gildy to make. The St Martin's School values of friendship, honesty, responsibility, respect, courage and love weave throughout the different scenarios Gildy finds himself in. There are some of these values in this film, and some on the Gildy's Day web pages. See if you can spot them. And if you see Gildy doing something that you think would help you make good choices, or focus and feel good, why not try it out for yourself? Let's start. Gildy's Day. Chapter 1. Gildys Morning. Another day is happening, it's happening right now. If I get up or if I stay in bed, it'll happen anyhow. It's another day of being home, another day of this. And though I'm sometimes happy, there are lots of things I miss. I can't wait to be at school. If this lockdown ever ends, I will play games in the playground with all of my friends. I will sing in an assembly, but it feels I never will, 'cause though the world goes round, I stay still. I go and get my breakfast, my brother helps me choose. He helps me eat my cornflakes, I help him tie his shoes. Dad's office is in the hallway now, but he still likes to drive. Mum's working at the hospital, she'll be back at 5:30. And it's strange the way things are now, it's been like it for a year. I was 7 in the summer, but no one could come here. And we want to visit family, and it feels we never will, 'cause though the world goes round, we stay still. So this morning I have numeracy and I'm feeling a bit sad. It's snowy and I want to build a snowbird with my dad. We log in to Google Meets, everyone's in squares, and someone's mic's not working and there's a view of someone's stairs. There are quite a lot of fractions and I only know a few. And before tomorrow's lesson we've got worksheets to do. And I'm stuck and I can't focus, and it feels I never will, 'cause while the world goes round, I stay still. While the world goes round, I stay still. So what is Gildy going to do? He's feeling unfocused and unsettled, and he's got numeracy work to complete. He started his fractions work but just can't concentrate, especially when it's snowing outside. He's making mistakes in his work and is getting into a very bad mood. He wants to storm outside, play in the snow and forget about numeracy, but he also knows that Dad is trusting him to get on with the work while he watches Gildy's little brother Tully and works from home himself. So Gildy does a very clever thing. He takes a deep breath and thinks of some choices he could give himself. Yes, he could storm out and go and build that snowbird. Or he could go to his good mood bag and find an activity to do for a while to help himself feel better. Or he could just stay where he is, in a bad mood, and just get the work done. Gildy thinks for a while, weighing up the pros and cons. In the end, even though it means not going outside until later, he chooses to find something in his good mood bag. He says to himself he'll only do it for a few minutes, so because of this he has to find something that will get him into a good mood very quickly. He chooses to do some drawing, and soon he's feeling much calmer. It crosses his mind that he could stay drawing for a bit and then go straight outside, because why risk getting into a bad mood again with numeracy? But then he remembers how Dad is trusting him to get on with his work, and so he moves on to his fractions. Funnily enough, Gildy realises that in drawing the circles and dividing them, he's still drawing and getting his work done at the same time. Before long, Gildy has finished his numeracy work. He goes to show Dad, who then takes him and Tully outside to build a brilliant snowbird. Stop the film now if you want to take some time to write down or draw a picture of something that happened in Chapter 1. You can write down or discuss Gildy's choices, or even draw a picture of Gildy like these children at St Martin's have done. Can you draw a thought bubble above Gildy's head to show us what he's thinking? Chapter 2. Gildys Afternoon. I am informed, I watch the news, I know I should eat healthily. So I eat all my salad, it's a colourful plate, for breakfast, snacks, lunch and then tea. And now it is lunchtime and Dad has provided a nutritious, delicious meal. What I eat will affect how I feel, so salad's just part of the deal. But there are chocolate biscuits, I just saw them there in the fridge. I want those chocolate biscuits, I don't want this boring sandwich. Now part of the problem is that I'm distracted. I know that those biscuits are there, and they haven't been offered to Tully or me, and I don't really think that it's fair. I could ask to have one, that could be fun, but I know that there are more. And now I cannot ignore that I could have 2 or 3, maybe 4 of those chocolate biscuits. I just saw them there in the fridge. I want those chocolate biscuits, I don't want this boring sandwich. Soon Dad will take my brother upstairs and wash out the food from his hair. And I'd have the chance to eat up the biscuits that maybe no one knows are there. It's just 1 or 2 biscuits forgotten about, it's not like I'm stealing a cake. And though chocolate can make my head ache, that's a risk that I'm ready to take. I want those chocolate biscuits, the ones I saw there in the fridge. I want those chocolate biscuits, I don't want this boring sandwich. So I might get a headache and feel a bit fuzzy, and it's literacy this afternoon. We're supposed to be writing a story about the day in the life of a spoon. I will need to use speech marks and I know how they work, so a headache might be okay. Or it could ruin the rest of my day, and if Dad finds out he's bound to say, where are those chocolate biscuits, the ones I put on the fridge shelf? Where are those chocolate biscuits, I wanted to eat them myself. Gildy is full of different thoughts. He really wants those chocolate biscuits. His mind is racing. He remembers how earlier he had taken a breath to help his mind slow down. Now is the perfect time to eat those biscuits while no one is around. On the other hand, he could just eat his lunch and try and forget about the biscuits. He thinks about how eating the biscuits would be wrong, especially as they haven't been offered and aren't his, but then he thinks about how he could fib to Dad and say the computer isn't working, so he can't do his literacy, and then they could make chocolate biscuits together for everybody to share. But how can he do that? He has literacy on Google Meet this afternoon. So, Gildy comes up with a plan, but it involves lying to Dad. Gildy ums and ahs, and eventually he convinces himself it's the best choice he could make. What do you think? He waits a couple of minutes before going to tell Dad the computer isn't working. Dad quickly says he'll try to fix it, but then Gildy panics and tells another fib. He says it's the school computer that isn't working. Gildy's dad knows something is up, but he can't put his finger on it, and he's feeling a bit distracted. He's having a tough afternoon himself with a problem at work he has just finished sorting out, so when Gildy then suggests they could make biscuits for everyone together, Gildy's dad thinks this is a lovely idea and just the kind of thing that he needs to take his mind off things. So while Tully has a nap upstairs, Gildy and Dad get busy in the kitchen making the chocolate biscuits. Gildy's dad is having a great time, and so is Gildy, but suddenly Gildy remembers what he's done. He's fibbed to his dad. His tummy does a somersault and starts to ache a little bit. As the biscuits are cooking in the oven, Gildy's dad tidies up the kitchen, whistling as he goes. For some reason, Gildy's dad whistling makes Gildy feel even worse. He feels awful. Gildy soon realises that he is feeling guilty. He has another choice to make. Should he tell Dad what he's done, or should he keep it to himself? He might not feel guilty later, especially with chocolate biscuits to eat, but then he might feel even worse. What if Dad finds out I fibbed, he thinks. Will that be worse than me telling him I fibbed? One thing Gildy knows is that he wants his tummy to stop feeling funny and to feel good again. So, even though the fibbing hadn't been a good idea, Gildy makes a decision that is actually quite brave. He tells Dad what he's done. Dad is disappointed that Gildy has lied about the school computer not working, but he's also proud of Gildy for telling him the truth in the end, even when it means he could be in trouble. Dad decides that Gildy won't be playing outside tomorrow until he's caught up on his literacy. He also says to Gildy that he won't be having any of the fresh biscuits they've baked until everyone else has had some. They talk and agree that tomorrow will be a fresh start. Why do you think we try to eat as much healthy food as possible? Is there any particular food that's good for our brains? What foods can help us concentrate? Stop the film now if you want to answer any of these questions, or draw a picture of what happened to Gildy in Chapter 2. Chapter 3. Gildys Evening. Today I got my breakfast, my brother helped me choose. He helped me eat my cornflakes, I helped him tie his shoes. Dad's office is in the hallway now, but he still likes to drive. Mum's working at the hospital, she'll be back at 5:30. Mum cares a lot for people and brings them tasty food. She'll help them do a puzzle so they're in a better mood. And she works with all the doctors to help people who are ill. And while the world goes round, she can't stay still. While the world goes round, she can't stay still. She's busier than usual and sometimes works quite late, but it's always good to see her, even if I have to wait. She comes home and has a shower, so she's nice and clean. She puts her clothes straight into our big washing machine. And today has been quite difficult. I've done some numeracy. I've built a brilliant snowbird and I've written a story. Now I'm playing in the living room. My brother's on the windowsill. He goes around and around and he won't stay still. We go around and around and we don't stay still. Mum is very tired. It has been a very long day at the hospital. She's so tired she sits down on the sofa even though it doesn't have any cushions on it and closes her eyes. Gildy is so excited to see his mum, he climbs up onto the sofa with her, puts his arms around her and asks her for a piggyback. He soon realises this was not the best decision. The piggyback is not going to happen, and after sitting down and just taking some time, Gildy realises that Mum is very tired and could do with some rest. Gildy stops Tully from making barking noises by asking him to choose a book. Then, as they all snuggle up together on the sofa, Gildy reads the story. Mum and Tully enjoy him doing different voices for all the characters. Mum falls asleep straight after the story, and then Gildy has another good idea. He covers Mum with a blanket and takes his little brother upstairs to play for a little while. It feels good looking after his mum. He knows she spends a lot of time looking after other people, including him and Tully. Suddenly, Dad calls Gildy down into the living room. Dad points to the television and they all listen as the Prime Minister tells the whole country that schools will be open to everyone from the 8th of March. Gildy's chest suddenly feels very warm. He'll be seeing his friends again. He'll be able to do all the things he's been missing so much. That night, Gildy lays in bed thinking about his day. It's been full of different thoughts and emotions. He feels very glad that he took the time to slow down so that he could try and make good choices. Gildy goes to sleep thinking about going back to school, and he feels very happy that as well as all the friends he has at school, he can be his own friend too. Good night, Gildy. What were your thoughts when you found out you'd be going back to school again? Can you draw a picture of yourself at school doing something you enjoy? Max has drawn himself at forest school. However you're feeling, if you want to share it, find someone you trust and tell them about it. They would love to know how you are. For more information on Gildy's day, to try it out for yourself and to enjoy some follow-on activities, go to www.jennylockyer.co.uk. I've done some numeracy. I've built a brilliant snowbird and I've written a story. Now I'm playing in the living room. My brother's on the windowsill. He goes around and around and he won't stay still. We go around